Good evening and welcome back to the We Are Rise show. I'm your host, Brett C. Collins. How you doing on this fabulous Friday? It's pouring down so hard. The temperature dropped like 20 degrees in like an hour. It was like 96 today high, and it's just storming as anything. And that's great. We need the rain, and it cools things down. I'm fine with it. I don't care. I don't care if it rains like every day because it's just so brutally hot. We need it. Welcome in, everybody. How's everybody doing out there? A lot of interesting news, a lot of things that are, I hate to say it in some way. Play some conspiracy theory music in the background. I hate to say it in a lot of ways, though, that how so many people are easily bought up and caught up with the narrative. You don't have to pick a side. You don't have to choose a side. You can just be on your own side, your own thought process, how you perceive things, how you understand things, You don't have to weight this versus that or that versus this. You don't have to be in anybody's corner. You could be your own corner. You could be your own fence sitter. I think I'm just completely mesmerized, captivated by how so many people, after some of the breaking news that are just, they're running to what? Jack Prosobic and Benny Johnson. Wow. Now, I didn't see what was in the courtroom. Neither did you. Do you trust those guys? No, I don't. Actually, someone called Q told you not to trust those people or anybody that's on the payroll of a very large S group of people, but I don't know who those people are. I don't. I pay for my own thing here, okay? I don't have any sponsors. You guys support the platform. And by the way, thank you for all the subscriptions. Pick up a tier. I mean, you guys are all subscribing, Sausage Launcher, everybody out there that has a subscription. Thank you so much for supporting and being here. The platform, it's fantastic. It's great. Oh, talk conspiracy to me. He. Yeah, I don't. Like I said, there are more important things, I think, to discuss tonight. Like, I think there are other things that are on the peripheral that we need to discuss, like tonight's show. Fired before the vote. Trump dismantles election watchdog. This is massive. This is it. Now, Trump has apparently cleared his schedule for 3 days. And they're also now trying to reinforce part of Lafayette Park and many other different extremities in the White House because of the supposition, the fear that's being thrown around the agitprop that President Trump is under duress, that Iran via Israel or other intelligent apparatuses are basically saying that, hey, his life is in danger. That's why the whole transfer of the planes. I mean, do we believe Mossad and Israel are the ones that are providing President Trump with his actual intelligence? No, it's the military. It's the military industrial defense organization or whatever it is. I don't see him utilizing CIA, ODNI, any of these groups. He has a trusted source that's vetted out. So whatever it is that we're going and that we're seeing, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what you think. But these things are being put out there, and we have to discuss it. Part of the other show, again, Iran's threat, real, kind of, maybe. Welcome in, Pill.net. Hello over on YouTube. What's going on over here on Rumble? What's up, True Terran? Nah, dog. Good to see everybody. Tequilas, vodka, Red Bull for me. Doubles, please. Yeah, only single malt does for me. I hear you. I hear what's up. It's Friday. If you want to drink, go have fun. Go party on and stuff. Yeah. Let's cover a couple of things. Let's just go right into some of the funniest things that I saw today. And I guess because since Jack Prosobic has basically, him and Benny Johnson and everybody at Turning Point said, well, these videos that were shown, that they had high resolution definition videos of actually that we could see from Space Force, these videos of Tyler Robinson shooting, thus Charlie Kirk. Everybody in the courtroom saw it. Okay, the high def, high resolution. We took it from Space Force. We captured it, even though all the other pictures were grainy. Either all the other stuff that it's hard to tell who's in the parking garage, who's here. There's one video that was good that was put out that you saw that he was at some eatery, some restaurant. I don't know what it was. Chick-fil-A, whatever. And then everything else is kind of like, suspect. You don't have good visuals of him going up the stairs jumping off the roof. But apparently you have enough facial recognition from Space Force. Apparently that's where they got it from, the prosecution. I'm joking. I'm just trying to be, I'm just trying to just like digest all this stuff in some way. All right. But again, that's it. It's over. Let's play this because apparently, you know what? This is the end of everything. So we're now basically going to excoriate anybody who questions anything or not. Like I said, I'm in my own corner and I didn't see any videos. I don't know what's going on. We'll hear. I'll cover a lot of that. I want to just cover this because this is apparently what the end game is. No matter what, the truth will be told. Whether he's guilty or not, this is how people see it. And remember, this is a capital case. Cross every T, dot every I. And remember, this is now going to lead the probable cause phase, go into a trial as it should. He'll enter a plea through arraignment, which he has not been, and maybe a plea deal will be made. Okay? But all the other stuff, the agitprop, deception management, perception management, all the suppositions, all the other stuff, we'll just push that aside. Doesn't matter. You can't question anything. Apparently, we're going back into the matrix. We're going to take our blue pills and we're going to swallow it. And everybody else that just has a narrative, a thought, regardless of whatever it is, this is the coup d'etat. It's over and all you guys lose. And you know what? No, we don't lose. Okay? My own analysis, my own thoughts, my own opinions come from me, not from somebody else. Okay? I don't sit there and pull it out of my own ass. You guys could be wherever you want. I'm going to be where I am. But here it is today.
No,
this is the end goal.
Don't execute him.
And I think this is funny.
He's innocent. It was Israel.
This one is for the Kirk family.
Whoever put this out.
Fire
this is
on
for
my
the
mark.
slot.
Fuck you,
for
Tyler.
Target locked.
You punk ass bitch.
No, let me go. Help me, please.
Firing. Target hit.
Please.
Continuing fire down. Don't make a sound.
No more. Stop them.
It's too late. Take that, you piece of shit.
No, Tyler. My baby, Tyler. No.
So that's the attitude a lot of people have. Hey, look, if he did it, I'll be the first one. I want to see a live execution. Okay? No doubt about it. Hang him high. If that's true, let's see it. But we didn't get to see the video. And we're being told by, let's put it this way, and I'll cover it briefly because I don't really want to talk about this too much because I don't really fucking care at this point. I'm just like done with this because there's too much infighting about all this stuff. There's too much narrative dirt slop. Here's Stu Peters puts it out. I think this is funny. I swear in my handler's tiny hat, Talit, and my comfy cubicle at Langley, I saw this crystal clear video of Tyler Robinson taking a shot. Yeah, it came from Space Force. It was high resolution definition. Actually, Trump handed it to me, and we gave it to the prosecution. Trust and Incredible Epstein Files, Phase 1. Remember that guy? Remember that guy, Benny Johnson, all those people? I remember how all big names that are, basically like saying, you guys, look, that have a different perspective, a different narrative. All of a sudden now, they trust this guy. That's what I find funny. That's what I find comical. Because I don't trust this motherfucker one bit. You can, but I'm not. Apparently, whatever it was, there was some type of operation to make sure we push this over the line so we can get out of the phase of the information phase under the law in Utah and out of the probable cause phase as it is into the trial phase, which thus leads to an arraignment, thus leads to an engagement of him entering a plea. And then maybe there'll be a deal in place. I don't know. Do they really want a deal? That's the other question. Consider that. I don't know. Here, Doc Holliday puts this out. I think this was a good one. I got a couple other things, and we'll cover it right now. And I'll get you Persobic's take on this because I really want to get into other stuff. Here it is. This smells. He puts this out. Here it is. Let me blow this up for everybody can see. It says, look, breaking high-quality surveillance video just been shown in court. Tyler Robinson taking the shot. Jack Posobiec, Inside Wire, high-quality footage, blah, blah, blah. Andrew Colvin, Jack Posobiec, who was inside the courtroom, said it went enhanced surveillance compilation video. Tony, surveillance of high resolution. Where have we seen this before? When the media parrots the same 4 a.m. talking points. Gunther Eagleman, here we go, game over. Oh, hour one, it's Fox News, CNN, CBS, all reporting. They have Tyler Robinson on film. Graham Allen, they zoomed in on the video. Yes, Space Force did it. I'm joking. They didn't. But I keep using that as runner. We could see their badges. Yes. Something's odd going on. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. Something is odd. Again, I'm not taking a side. If Robinson did it, hang him high. I want to see it live. Okay? But again, this is a case where you're assuming that he did it. We're not even in the trial phase. This is just what? If they actually had laws on the book in Utah to indict, as they can, for a grand jury, they don't. This is an information phase. That's why they push this back to September 1st, so they can gather and garner more information and decide what they're going to do. Obviously, it's going to move forward. But the point being is why is it so crazy that all this stuff that is coming out now that people are talking about here? I'll put this up here. There's more. Let me see. Let me get this out here. I'm just covering what was the top news of the day, which I don't think it's top news. I really don't, because you and I didn't see the video. We weren't in the courtroom. But again, I like to see things I don't like to hear things secondary or tertiary. All right, all that hearsay. Fox News, Matt Finn. Today, the court ended with a compilation surveillance. Again, more people parroting this in some way. Is it true? I don't know. Tyler Robinson did not appear to watch that video. Okay. Let's play it a little bit. Let's play it. I don't know.
Now, moments ago, the parents of Charlie Kirk exited the court. They appeared somber just about every time we've seen them this past week.
I don't know.
And today, court ended with a compilation of surveillance video showing the shooting suspect on campus. Erica and Charlie's mom were leaning into one another and crying. Robinson did not appear to watch that video.
Yeah, well, the grand jury hearing 5 days. No, what it was is that this is an information hearing. It's a probable cause hearing, where what they do is instead of going to a grand jury and indicting, because they can indict anybody, a ham sandwich, that's the phrase, they have it under Utah law where they go through these 5-day preliminary, and then from there, the judge will assign a date, which it says September 1st, which is about 2 months, and then he will give his judgment, his base judgment about if they move forward with this. And if they move forward with this, he'll be automatically arraigned. He'll plead whatever, guilty, not guilty, and then we'll find out whether or not there's going to be a plea, if there's anything on the table, if anything is discussed. We don't know. All right? The other thought is, in some way, if all this stuff we're seeing is bunk and it's not really true, I'll cover some of it later on in the show. Well, then, you know what? This is going to a jury trial, and it only takes one or two people to basically say, yeah, I'm not really sure about this evidence. If I was sitting on this jury, I would be too, but I didn't see this footage. I don't know how visually good it was. If it was Space Force good, it was so good 3D that I had to put my 3D glasses on. I hope it's good. I hope it's real. I hope they actually had their guy. That's what I'm saying. But I don't trust this motherfucker one bit. In fact, you guys love Q, right? You read all the posts. And I remember reading it left and right and people talking about, this is a guy you can't trust. Remember, this guy was holding up a binder. Again, who does he work for? Who does he get paid from? And this fucking guy you want to believe? Okay.
I think it's proven. I would say beyond probable cause at this point. I think that the question for me is how do you even get reasonable doubt when there's so much evidence? But the thing that I do just have to say,
reasonable doubt with so much evidence. We're not even in a jury trial. We're just going through the phase where the judge is basically going to say, we're moving forward or we're not. Where's this jury trial? Why are they jumping the shark? And will that footage be released to us? I hope the footage will be released to all of us. You know, and why not release it now? If you wanted to end this once and for all and shut all the Candace Owens people down and all these Ian O'Carroll and all these other people down, all these people that had doubt, Why not just release it? What difference does it make? Because if it was so impactful, then the judge would move forward. They would get to the point where we would get a plea deal. And then from that, entering a plea. And then from there, we get a plea deal after his arraignment. And then that's it. And whatever that is, that's going to happen. And I guarantee you they'll take the death penalty off from there. And it'll be what, life in prison or what have you. I don't know. But all this stuff is supposition. I just don't trust this guy. I play a little bit more. Makes me sick.
Is that I know that you guys watching on live stream couldn't see the last video that was shown. Well,
why?
It wasn't edited. It was zoomed in. Yeah. It was zoomed in from the surveillance video off campus, and specifically the part of the Losi Center, the roof, and you see everything.
Okay, I don't want to play anymore. It makes me sick. But you know what? Look, if you're saying that's true and your reputation is on that, right? Like, just let's put it this way. Him, Benny Johnson, all the people are saying this, okay? You're staking your reputation on it, that enhanced zoom where you could see him directly. Okay, we're supposed to take your word for it. I don't take your word for it until I see it. And then I will concur from that or not. Either way, don't tell me what I need to think or not, because if I haven't seen it, how can I believe you? We're just going to parrot these people's beliefs because from their point of view, from their perception, because they want this to be, instead of like actually factually seeing this as you all should be. And you know what? This is a trial. We're going into a trial, possibly. And you know what? The jury has to see this. It's not about Jack Brasovic, Benny Johnson, you, I, Candace, Ian, O'Carroll, whatever the fuck his name, or all these other people. It's about the jury. If we get to a jury trial, it's about them, okay? It's about them and them alone. Everything else is just noise. It's just noise, and it doesn't mean anything. Here's the other point. This was, excuse me, let me get out of this, and I'll show you this. This was another person that happened to be there, and she was saying, this is, I guess, Mel on Village Crazy Lady. Thank God we still have people on the ground and good journalists committed to the truth in this country. Brandy Ciliano and Billy Webb have been camping out every week there to make sure they get the inside of the courthouse. They both deserve praise and following their commitment to rejecting the Fed slop, whatever. Fed slop, goy slop, I don't give a shit. Whatever you want to call this. Brandy Siciliani. I was in the courtroom today. There was no high-quality zoomed-in footage showing anyone taking a shot. The video shown is the same distance as the footage of Tyler jumping off the roof. So they saw a video that they had, but it wasn't zoomed up. It was only the same type of visual enhancement as him jumping off the roof. But yes, they're able to deduce because they have eagle eyes, and those eagle eyes basically determine them to say, hey, look, we could take what we're saying right now, move this forward as narrative, all right, perception management, deception management, agitprop, move this forward and say, yeah, it's him. Well, we see it. Or someone that looks like him. Yeah, it's him. And you know what? Our reputation can't be impaired or impugned because you know why? They did play something, okay? So they did play something. Now, whether you could see it from Space Force, where it's basically you're looking at me like this and like, yeah, that's the guy, or Spider-Man, I don't know, pointing your fingers, doesn't matter. But this being this, jumping off the roof shown in the same screenshot as him, we just don't know. We just don't know. We don't get to see that visual. And the question is why? Why not play that for the why not play that? You basically released the handwriting thing accidentally, where the judge was pissed off about. I don't understand a lot of this stuff. You saw certain evidence that you're allowed to, and not enough evidence. If there's video footage that he did it, conclusively that he did it, that you can kaleidoscope it, you can have the visual breakdown of seeing this fracturing of his facial details and stuff in some way. We could go through all that. Well, then there you go. Present that. But they waited for the last minute to show the last thing that might have been, could have been, may have been, look alike, what have you. I'm not really sure, and I don't really care anymore because I'm just done with this narrative. It really makes me sick because I think people are tripping over themselves where they were at one point attacking and accusing people, the Epstein Binder people. Oh, remember that time frame? They went off on all these people, and you guys were destroying Pam Bondi. But yet, so all of a sudden, Jack Versopic and Benny Johnson and people of that ilk, Liz Wheeler, all Binder people, that apparently their notoriety and credibility has come back because they're all towing a narrative that gives them an ample opportunity to say, well, I saw a video that looked like him. It was close enough that I could see from my own opinion that it was him. And then there you go. But it's not up to them to determine that. It's up to a jury. Look at this as from a legal perspective. It's not about you and I. It's not about what we even think or what we care to think about. It's about what the jury's going to think about. Yeah, witnesses. Yeah, what have you. I mean, I don't know, Trump one. Good to see everybody. Welcome in. Pill.net. Thank you, Theo, for the 600 gold pills. Curious Cat for the cookie. Wood USA for the 219 gold pills. Thank you all for supporting the platform. It is the call-in show. I will drop. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns to opine by, let me know. And we're going to get into various stuff of discussions. Thank you, Linda Perino. It's good to see you on over here on YouTube. And hello, everybody on Rumble. I'm going to drop that. So if you want to call and be my guest. All right, let's get to the fun. Let's get to the craziness, the nonsensical stuff that we just can't believe. Something's going to happen very soon. Be prepared. Get ready. There's a lot of incoming and talk and chatter about this. We don't know what this is going to be. And I guarantee it has nothing to do with Iran. That I'm certain about. President Trump reveals that Iran just begged him to resume talks. He's agreed, but made clear the ceasefire is over. 47 is making the power play. No more games. Strikes at any time he deems necessary. Now the mullahs will see no more Mr. Nice Guy. All right? Listen to what he says here. Look what he puts here. The Islamic Republic of Iran. He wasn't saying that before. Now he's basically making sure people know the Islamic Republic of Iran has asked us to continue talks in some way. Is this also a hint to understanding the communism that's masked with the Islamists that are sneaking in this country, that are parroting certain partitions and let's just say new rules that they want to set forth, new goals that they're ready to do to take over our country? Yes, they are. Media puts this out. Something is afoot, ladies and gentlemen. Something is afoot. Yes, in the next 3 days, President Trump has to stay, I guess, apparently around the White House or let's just say secure, because there's a lot of incoming reports. CNN reports latest change of the White House or extra layer of security. The Islamic Republic of Iran has asked us to continue talks. We've agreed, blah, blah, blah. No uncertain terms. Other stuff is going on.
In certain terms, he's stating to them that the ceasefire is over. Well, this does open the door to a number of questions, because one of the things you have to keep in mind here is that there were certain terms of the ceasefire that both sides were abiding by. For example, one of them was that Iran was meant to try and assist ships, or at least not actively attack them, commercial vessels that were going through the Strait of Hormuz. If the ceasefire is over, does that mean we're going to see more attacks on ships? Obviously, the U.S. in return was going to remove the naval blockade and lift sanctions. We've seen them already reimpose sanctions. And then again, just moments ago, they imposed another round of sanctions, this time on what they called a financial facilitator who controls global assets for the leader of Iran. So we the United States.
Did you hear that? A financial facilitator that controls the global assets of Iran. Let me play that back.
For the leader of Iran. So we the United States seem to no longer be abiding by the rules of those ceasefire. But what does that mean for the actual danger in the Strait of Hormuz? That is something we haven't gotten to the bottom of yet.
And Kristen, in light of all of this, we're also learning about new fortifications being added to the White House. What are you seeing?
Yeah, well, what I'm seeing is directly behind me, it might look like this is the White House, but it's actually a giant tarp that is hanging down, which I know we've reported on, that is a direct replica of what the White House looks like. They actually did quite a good job. I mean, unless you're looking closely. And this is blocking off what they're doing behind it, which is restoring columns, but also fortifying the main entrance, adding an extra level of security. So we talked to sources who said, yes, most of President Trump's projects at the White House are done because he likes the aesthetics. This one is also being done because they need more security. Of course, as you noted, this comes on this off of the reporting that we have that Israeli intelligence alerted President Trump to a fresh Iranian assassination plot. We obviously saw him changing planes and taking extra precautions around this information.
Now, we covered that the other day. The question is about the changing planes, which I'll get back into. You know, it's a question of like, is there something there, or is it just a lot of noise? Or is it just what? Again, agitprop, propaganda, distraction, divertisement. It could be a lot of stuff. I think that you got to continue to look at these things in a different manner. Let's move forward about the big news today, because I'll get back into this. I'm going to dip in and out, weave in and out about a lot of stuff, because tonight's show really is focused on this. Trump fires the remaining 3 members of the bipartisan election, removing officials from the body months for midterm elections in an extraordinary step, says a Democrat senator. President Trump, let me blow this up if I can. Yeah, let me blow it. You guys can read this. Okay, so President Trump has dismissed 3 remaining members of the Election Assistance Commission, the independent federal commission that assists election administration officials nationwide. It's not independent. The White House has confirmed the remaining 3 commissioners of the 4-member bipartisan commission, which is 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, were forced out of this commission on Thursday in different ways. The 1 Republican appointee resigned, and the other 2 Democrat appointees were dismissed via email. The White House Presidential Personnel Office, as according to one familiar with the decision. The 4th commissioner left in April. The terminations now follow the recent Supreme Court decisions that granted the president more power in this matter, which under the slaughter rule. How interesting that name. Take that idiom, the slaughter rule. The 4th commissioner left in April terminates the following result. U.S. Supreme Court decision that granted the president more power to fire members of independent agencies and a push by Trump for more federal intervention in voting processes. Traditionally, the purview of the states as midterm elections approach in November. On behalf of President Trump, I'm writing you to inform this position as Commissioner of Election Assistance is terminated effective immediately. Bingo, bongo, bango. All right, let me show you a couple other things. So that was the Irish Times. I had this from VoteBeat. Again, a lot of stuff. And we're going to break this down. I want to deconstruct this just a little bit in some way. I really want to deconstruct this because I want to explain to you what this means. Why is this so prevalent? Why is this prevalent? Why is this pervasive? Why is this matter in these discussions? What is it that we're talking about? How does it affect us in so many ways? You think like, oh, this is nothing. No, it's a lot bigger than you think. And understanding under the slaughter rule that the Supreme Court has given President Trump to basically tackle the bureaucratic state, the SES class, the administrative state, the deep state, okay? Fire agencies, people within these agencies, left and right. This was the first shot of an unsaleable discussion that most people thinking he couldn't go to this agency and do it. Yes, he can. The Supreme Court says yes. Are there going to be any people that are going to, let's just say, sue him based upon that? Probably not. The slaughter case is definitive. It is definitive. The firings leave the federal election agency no commissioners. And I'm going to explain to you what they do. Updated today. The story is updated with a comment from the White House. President Trump fired all of them. 2 Democratic commissioners, Hicks and Benjamin Hovland, were notified by email on behalf of Trump. I'm writing to inform you your position has been terminated. The email said it was signed by Morgan DeWitt Snow, Deputy Director of the Presidential Personnel in the office. 3rd Commissioner Christy McCormick was allowed to resign, according to 3 sources within the agency. McCormick declined to comment when reached by phone. The agency's 4th Commissioner, Donald Palmer, voluntarily departed the agency early this year to join the Heritage Foundation. Interesting. The firings leave these 4 commissioners, no commissioners, meaning cannot take official action until new members are installed. Or will they? They also come days after the Supreme Court granted President Trump powers to fire leaders of independent agencies, weakening the legal framework for that decades have been insulated bipartisan federal SES class, administrative class. This is part of it. You're seeing the benefit. In some way, a lot of people believe, regardless and nonetheless and nevertheless of how the Supreme Court ruled on the 14th Amendment, Section 1, birthright citizenship, it is irrelevant. We might even see a revisit in this. A lot of people are saying there's going to be a new discussion that is going to be presented, a new argument to the Supreme Court in regards to that. We'll cover that later. But but I just want to go over this briefly. I want you to understand how this is going to impact our elections currently right now. We understand that the Senate has stalled the Voting Save America Act in so many different ways. And we don't know if it's because of what's happening with what we're seeing. We know July 13th, all these boobs come back. And whether they're going to do something or not, we don't know what's happening with Mitch McConnell. But I'm quite sure that after the 13th, we'll have some resolution on Mitch McConnell. But look, understanding what they are. All right, you have to understand that this commission, remaining members were fired because of leaving the agency with zero commissioners. The question will be, how does this impact midterm elections? The question will be not because how it is. It's not a change of running elections. Instead, it certifies machines, equipment, helping elections, and best practices training, manages the national the mail-in voter registration form, and what grants provide grants and resources to the states. These are the things it does. This is just one example that I'm showing you. Apparently, without commissioners, the agency cannot make official decisions or approvals, meaning they cannot certify, all right, from a state level through the federal level, all these type of, let's just say, approvals with mail-in ballots. They cannot do it. This sparks fear, chaos, paralysis. Why? The left, Democrats, voting officials claim he's irresponsible, creating confusion, extra work for state officers just months before the midterms. Is this a push for stricter election laws and rules? Yeah. Proof of citizenship, voter ID? Absolutely. Is there a bigger effort to reshape how elections are administered? Absolutely. Is Trump rigging the midterms by firing elected officials? No, he's firing corrupt election officials and an autocracy, an actual what? Agency that is wholly captured and corrupted from a bipartisan position to undercut what they deem is rational and certifiable. And who's left to certify the votes in Trump's commission purge? No one. That's a good thing. You take the federal bureaucracy out of it, and let's see what's in replace. The states still have to do their job. They're not going to have this overarching SES class signing off of it. The states will have to do their own, let's just say, due diligence, and there'll be a lot of laws and a lot of, let's just say, oversight with that. So last year, Trump tried using the EAC, this is what we're talking about here, to fire and change all the executive orders from last year, but the courts blocked it. Interesting that the courts were blocking it. So this happened in the creation of Congress. In 2002, after the 2000 election debacle, with the 580 hanging chads that the state of Florida certified under the federal election laws and went to President Bush. Whatever you think about it, that's how it went. And so from that standpoint, it went independent and bipartisan. Yeah, it did. Think about it. You had Obama after that. What? We were going to get rotten box Clinton unless Trump got in there. And then you had Biden. So we were going to get 16 years of garbage, maybe 20 years, whatever, of Democrat leftist radicals to destroy this country. So can Trump fire them this way? This was sent out in emails. Of course he can. The Supreme Court rulings under Slaughter expands his powers and its untested agencies and will. So if this is a disruptive power grab, think about this. Elections will still happen. They'll be run by states, but federal coordination and some functions, some discussions and functions and functionalities are now going to be paused. What are those functions or those routines? So I think there's something there. And I think that a lot of people should not overlook and dismiss this. This was a big thing today. As the drama intensifies, this is a key support agency during a stolen election season, cutting bureaucracy reforms. You have to consider that everything that is done, this is a pathway to finally end mail-in fake and gay ballots. Yes, by cutting off this federal bureaucracy, this SES class, administrative class, what you're doing is you're undercutting the certification process. There's going to be new due diligence that's going to be involved that the states will have to adhere to without a bureaucratic agency overlooking them and saying, just push it through, we'll sign off on it, and there you go. No longer is that going to happen. The states will be wholly responsible. Think about that. From the mail-ins, the UPS, USPS, what have you. They will be wholly responsible without the federal bureaucracy raining down hell in some way. And to have this bipartisan commission who is very suspect in general. And people are like, what do they really do? I was explaining to you what they do in some way. I think a lot of people are just kind of confused. The idea that they manage national mail-in voter registration forms, that's shocking. That they provide grants and resources to states. What grants and what resources to what states? And they certify machines and equipment to help elections run smoothly? Well, we see how that worked out. How did that work out? Didn't work out for us. What are we going to hear about? Dominion and Smartmatic and every other fucking what? Goddamn electronic flip your switch voting counter doesn't work. We know it doesn't work. And I think in some way what President Trump is doing here is moving things forward to get us prepared. Now, if there's going to be a 3-day window, why are we batting down the hatches? President Trump is told to remain in place. There are certain conditions that are going on. A lot of it could be just scuttlebutt, not necessarily true. But I'm just worried at this moment. Something is now giving. He's showing them what he's about to do about the elections. So they're going to pivot. Who are they? The leftists, the Marxists, the cultists, the communists. All of them are going to move on in some way and going to do something because they're starting to see President Trump use his power to slowly rip apart these agencies that are going to affect the election. And in some way, we're getting to something, and a lot of people don't know. Here's Spencer Pratt. Spencer Pratt was at the White House, I think last week. I don't know, it was like a couple of days on, maybe last week before Trump went to NATO in Turkey. Spencer Pratt says, have evidence of voter fraud. After weeks of questions surrounding Los Angeles' slow-moving mayoral count, the former candidate is now making specific explosive claims. His own team went into Skid Row, interviewed residents, and has it. This is what he played. Whatever he has, whatever they're showing, is he working with the Trump administration? It's possible. Or are there elements of the team working with the Trump administration with him? Let's play a little bit of this.
In judicial ethics, the mere appearance of potential fraud is disqualifying. Same goes here. Whether or not there is widespread fraud occurring, there certainly could be. And it doesn't matter how many times you scream, there's no widespread fraud. A lot of people believe there is, and there's no way to actually validate it. This isn't just about whether or not fraud is swinging the election. The appearance of fraud already is swinging the election. People rightly have zero faith in this janky, inefficient system. They feel like their vote isn't being counted. They feel like illegal ballots are being cast, and they're not wrong to worry about it. There's literally...
To me, this is the most important subject matter. I mean, yeah, the death of Charlie Kirk is sad. I don't really care about the trial anymore. I don't care about the people and all this stuff. This is the number one thing. This is it. This affects us long after Charlie Kirk's dead, and whether or not they indict, and convict their man, so to speak, Tyler Robinson, I don't really fucking care. To me, it's not even my purview. I hate the fact that we had to cover that in some way, because to me, if we don't have honest and fair elections and we don't call out the fraud, don't revisit 2020, 2024, 2022, and 18, then we don't have a fucking country. Doesn't matter how many borders we seal out, it doesn't matter about how many people we deport and get rid of. This is it. Sorry, Charlie Kirk's dead. Yeah, I'm sorry he's dead. I like the guy. But this, to me, is the most important thing. Everything else should take a fucking back seat. That's it. There's nothing more important, okay, in the next several months than the midterm elections and our future elections going forward. Everything else is subterfuge, is sabotage, distraction, diversion. And if you want to listen to certain fucking birds of a feather parroting certain bullshit norms that you heard from a certain number that said, hey, be careful who you watch, be careful who you follow. If you're not watching this, if you're not listening to this, nothing else matters. I don't want to hear anything for the next several months regarding this other than what? Also, the safety and security for our president of the United States, which to me right now, There's a lot of discussion about that, but no one is talking about that because we're so hyperbolic about, oh, there's a video from Space Force. I digress. Let me continue.
No safeguards in place to prevent that from happening, and way too many openings for it to occur on a massive scale. You all saw how it was neck and neck with Karen Basula on election night, nearly double digits ahead of Nithya, just as the polling predicted.
Rahman fighting tears on election night, trailing Spencer Pratt by roughly 40,000 votes and about 10 percentage points.
I dominated the in-person vote. I smashed Nithya on the mail-in ballots too. She was crying on election night. It was over. Then a few days later, suddenly Nithya started overperforming as they continued to accept ballots 7 days after the election.
But days of counting
you can't speak English. You're not an American citizen.
Rahman has now raised a 40,000 vote deficit and moved ahead of Pratt by roughly 3,000 votes, a net swing of more than 43,000 votes.
43,000 votes, which just happens to be the exact number of homeless people on the streets in LA. They assured everyone that this is normal because for some reason that they can't explain, Democrats overwhelmingly vote by mail.
There's a historical phenomenon in national voting called the Red Mirage.
The Red Mirage.
What we were calling a Red Mirage.
The Red Mirage.
I remember that in 22.
Some swing states count votes, usually favoring Republicans early. Then it becomes an advantage for Democrats later in the evening and then into the next morning.
You expect to see the Republican with a lead, but it's not really a lead.
Democrats vote in higher numbers by a mail-in ballot. Historically, Democrats vote in higher numbers by mail-in ballots.
Not all Democrats, just the ones who are voting for the third place candidate, the one candidate who really needed the votes. Don't forget, there were 2 Democrats in the race, but for some reason, only the third place Democrat who needed the votes saw a disproportionate spike in votes several days after the election.
Good. Real good.
Multiple studies have shown that mail voting doesn't provide an advantage to either party. It's a myth. The media will say that claims of fraud here are without evidence. Keep in mind, an anomalous statistical spike like this is evidence of fraud. As any forensic accountant, it may not be necessarily proof of fraud, but it is certainly evidence of fraud. But forget the late ballots. Just because the vote swing coincidentally matched the specific Lhasa count of homeless people on the streets, just because NGOs that Nithya cuts checks to were hoarding ballots, just because hundreds of thousands of dead people and ex-residents who've left California were still on the voter rolls, doesn't mean anyone is taking those loose ballots and filling them out. First off, it's against the law. And we all know if it's against the law, it doesn't happen. Secondly, we have signature verification. Everyone has to sign their ballot, and a computer checks your signature. Well, except some voters can't sign.
This guy's great. I love this fucking guy.
On the ballot, and a witness can sign on your behalf. It can be an X or a scribble or even a happy face, as long as a witness signs off on it. And don't forget, once they separate the ballot from the envelope, there's zero way to trace it back to the ballot to check if a sudden tranche of votes that swung predominantly to one candidate had come from a bunch of ballots with happy faces in the signature box. The DSA instructs their ballot harvesters to go door to door and tell them to vote for Nithya Rahman and even help them fill in the bubble for their preferred socialist candidates. This is explicitly illegal. A ballot harvester can't tell you how to vote, and they certainly can't help you fill out the ballot. The laws don't matter if you have no mechanism in place to prevent the crime from occurring in the first place. There is this misnomer.
Oh, that's hardcore.
Critics of California's rigged voting system saying there's nothing you can do because this is all legal in California. It's not legal. Even by California's own ridiculous laws, all this stuff is still illegal. They simply removed all the mechanisms to catch the fraud and prevent it from happening. It's like a bank heist, but California has made a law that you can't lock the bank vault. You're not allowed to have security cameras, and you can't count the money inside the vault. Robbing the bank is still 100% illegal, but there's no way to stop it from happening. Now here's the smoky backroom dealing. 5 days before my election, Gavin Newsom signed a ridiculous law that literally banned federal and independent authorities from investigating vote fraud or overseeing elections to monitor for fraud during the counting process.
That's why I'm moving forward with new legislation that would make it a felony to seize ballots before the vote has been certified by state and county officials. We will be the wall we cannot get past.
That's like banning the bank from having security cameras. Now, the timing of this was deliberate. He knows this won't hold up in court, but he did it so close to the election day, he knew the courts wouldn't be able to overturn it in time for the election. It's truly like going up against the casino. The deck is so stacked against you, you never really stand a chance. You can play if you choose, but the house will never lose. So now, in California, you can loot $950 of merchandise. You can knowingly infect someone with HIV, but if you try to prevent vote fraud,
you will be prosecuted.
How can you secure the money if you can't lock the vault? How can you catch the robbers if you're not allowed to monitor the vault? And how can you even identify if the vault were even robbed in the first place if you can't even count the money? This is what California has done with the elections. Unsolicited ballots going into open mailboxes and NGOs and parking lots. Bank vault is wide open. No signature required, no ID required, no way to ID the robbers. And the beauty of their rigged system is they can have all the pageantry of his public ballot counting center. Hey, come on down. It's open to the public. Anyone can come watch so you can see just how kosher our system is.
We are inside LA County's massive ballot processing center. When Assistant United States Attorney arrived on scene to observe the process and ask questions.
All the fraud that does occur happens long before the ballots even hit this building. People have been pushing me to demand a recount. Why? You could recount these anonymous ballots 100 times. You'll get the same exact result. I have no doubt that they are doing a flawless job of accurately counting every single ballot in here with robotic precision. The fraud isn't here. It's here on Skid Row, where homeless people are paid a couple bucks for their ballots.
This is it.
Did they come down here and try to tell you to vote?
Yes.
They told you who to vote for?
I'm voting your way. Can I get to that point? You know what I mean?
It's here where socialist street animals go door to door and violate the ballot harvesting laws. People bring up the old communist adage often attributed to Stalin saying, it's not who votes that counts, it's who counts the votes. No, this is the modern era of fraud. They've gotten wise. The modern communist agrees with the old communist, but just the first part. It doesn't matter who votes. It doesn't matter if it's a drug zombie being paid for the ballot. It doesn't matter if it's a DSA socialist street animal filling out your ballot. It doesn't matter if it's a blue-haired intern at a Nithya Raman-funded NGO filling out the ballots. The bank vault is wide open. The cameras have been removed, and there's no way to count the money. Now, for those of you who wanted me to fight the election, for those of you who thought I was quitting or I was bought off to step aside and quietly disappear, I'll remind you, there's a smart way to handle these things and a dumb way. Evidence is not proof. I don't say things without proof. Now, anyone saying that there's no evidence of fraud is lying. There's tons of evidence, and I was the one who got it. All those videos you saw of homeless people admitting that they were paid for their vote, where do you think they came from? Immediately after the big spike of votes came in for Nithya, I sent my team down to Skid Row to collect evidence. We were warned by some very well-connected people that this was happening, so we acted on it immediately. But if you want to end this fraud, doing protests and bitching about stolen elections won't get you anything. You need the fraudsters to start catching charges. For that to happen, you need proof. That's what investigators do. They turn evidence into proof with a robust investigation. You think it's a coincidence that 20 FBI agents suddenly descended on Skid Row to investigate vote fraud? Why do you think they were there? You don't get evidence by going to rallies or storming the ballot processing center. You get evidence by doing real work. And the first rule of criminal investigation is you do not talk about it. Here's the reality. It's too late for my campaign. A lot of people refuse to accept that, but I can. I told you all to get your ass out and vote. Tell your friends to vote. Vote enough to beat the cheat. We didn't beat it, but that doesn't mean I quit. I don't know how to quit.
He never knew when to quit.
My goal isn't to try and salvage the campaign, just like my advocacy in the wake of the Palisades fire wasn't about my own home. It's too late for me. This is about you. This is about the next one. It's about exposing this corrupt rigged system and changing it for the next election. If I have to be the kamikaze pilot to finally get this fixed, so be it. There's a right way and a wrong way to do this. The right way isn't easy, but it ends with commie animals and handcuffs. I will restore faith in our elections if it's the last thing I do. And to all you fraudsters out there, we've been watching you, and justice is coming.
That's great. That dude, the light that burns bright. What is it? What's the phrase from Blade Runner? The light that burns twice as bright burns half as long. He burns so ever brightly, and I hope that flame is eternal. He is fantastic. Whatever his impact, his connection with the Trump administration, whatever him meeting him there in some way, as President Trump has opined on that mayoral election, actually the gubernatorial election, in a lot of ways, has helped intercede and interdict with U.S. attorneys in there. There is something coming about that. And while I look at the Charlie Kirk scenario where the Tyler Robinson case will be pushed back September 1st, I'm also thinking in some way that trial is going to become a harbinger. Also, it's also going to be a divertisement, a distraction in some way, because you have what? In less than 2 months, the election. Actually, they'll be at a month and a half away from the midterm elections. And so they'll revisit that in some way. Instead of making it, coming back in a couple of weeks and doing it before the August recess and making a determination and stuff, they push it back to September. Everything is always facilitated and orchestrated out to distract you, to keep you, let's just say, amused, keep you completely diverted from, separated from the reality of the situation. While there are a lot of people in MAGA and America First World or what have you that are on this and watching that, I'm no longer going to parlay into that. And I'm glad that the whole thing is over, because if we don't get our minds and our heads focused on this, we are going to lose the midterm elections. If you don't get out and vote, we're going to lose in your districts, at your homes. We're going to lose big. And they're going to impeach the president. They're going to arrest all of us. They're going to come after influencers, podcasters. They're going to do things you have never seen before. Do I think we're going to have election? I personally said we're not. I've said this for about a year and a half. I think there are things that are going to happen that could prevent us from getting to that for many different reasons. And I've made such assailing arguments and stuff, and you could bullet point it. The fraud is revealed. ODNI just drops bombs left and right. Discussions about 2020 election, 24, 22. Arrests are going to be made. Gavin Newsom and his wife are indicted. And that trigger is pulled. All this stuff could be a combination and a culmination of a variety of different things. Homie Dillon is going after Washington AG Nick Brown for not releasing voter rolls. There is a lot of things, Aloha Mom, that a lot of people are not focused on. And they need to be focused on in some way, because I think that we're going to revisit, as I said the other day, we're going back to 2016, okay? 2016, she wants her narratives back. Yes. And we are refocusing on what? A lot of things regarding election fraud, executive orders across the board that had to do with that, whether it's 13818, 13848, variety of different things that are involved. But we are going to visit it this year. Don't be persuaded or assuaged to be unencumbered by your emotions about the trial. Don't be wholly focused and captured on that. All those people that just want to stream that and play that and watch that are just what? They're just trying to, in some way, say, yeah, call out Candace, call out all these people. Who gives a fuck about those people? You don't care. I don't care. I don't need you or anybody else to tell me how I feel, what I think. There are so many things that are much more impactful that I'm focused on. And I will not be what? I will not be in any way blocked from discussing what I want to discuss, because I think there are more important, impactful things that are coming, and I don't care about any more about this. If you got the goods on them, go get them. If not, shut the fuck up. Seriously. It's all about, we got to get revenge. We got to go after all these people. No, move on. Let the people self-immolate. Let them implode. People will see the bigger picture about who the people are grifting and grafting off Charlie's death. People are making money left and right. People are selling you lies. I'm not selling you lies. All right? I have my own feelings. I'm not getting paid by anybody. No sponsorship. You guys support the platform. And if you don't, I put in my platform. That's my own personal opinion. It cannot be corroborated, all right, in some way that you need as a justification for these people, but it cannot be corrupted in either fashion, because let's face it, I'm doing independent media here, and just because I didn't see a video doesn't mean I have to toe a line. Not because I disagree that said video was that said good. Sorry. I'm just, I'm not going to play the game anymore. I'm not going to be, let's just say, distracted, and I'm not going to be diverted, and I'm not going to be attacked. There are other important things like this. Again, the most important thing, another one, bigger than the Charlie Kirk trial of Tyler Robinson. Bigger. Nothing else matters. Nope, doesn't matter. Trump asked Supreme Court, hey, we're going to reconsider birthright citizenship immediately after absolute insane decision. Now, on X, I've seen a shit ton of people. I'm hearing from the Supreme Court Justice, Coney Barrett, has made a horrible decision, and then she is now going to reflexively do this. Who the fuck are these people? Like, you got some inroads to the clerks. Like, you got a hotline to the Supreme Court and dial up Ms. Barrett and say, hey, or her clerks and say, hey, I got this. We're going to go and what the fuck? If anybody that you are following or saying is like, yeah, this is what I'm perpetrating, or this is what I'm pushing, and this is what I heard, it's not true. They didn't hear anything. That is totally bullshit. To suggest that is slander. I mean, it's really bad to suggest that you heard that Amy Coney Barrett is reversing it. What the fuck are you talking about? The decisions have already been made. Can they even change their mind? Well, let me put it this way, Senior Polo. President Trump will ask the Supreme Court to reconsider its ruling or consider another ruling upholding birthright citizenship for children born in the United States. Trump revealed a move Wednesday. His post on Truth Social. The president said the ruling is already exploited by people seeking to profit. All right, well, what? From foreigners traveling to the United States to give birth. Absolutely. The signs and billboards, blah, 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 demonstrate that there is an operation, a criminal operation. Now, if you can prove, if the Solicitor General can utilize a different predicate, an argument to cajole the Supreme Court to hear another and different version about the context, the syntax, discussion about how they're going to frame the next argument for the Supreme Court to handle regarding the birthright citizenship about the deliveries of $4,000. So if they were to come and present a new argument saying, look, your decision, Senior Polo, as you're asking, your decision is now increased the opportunity, the viability to scam citizenship based upon how you preface it and argued the 14th Amendment, sections 1 through 3. And he goes, I'll be asking for a rehearing immediately. The miscarriage of justice will destroy America and don't change absolutely an insane decision. What I'm saying here is that he will be able, the Solicitor General, to outlay another viability, a path, a resolution to argue that their decision has now increased and fortified a scam on the American electorate, on the American public, to just drop their dirt, slop, let's just say excrement off, and they could dip back out while they become American citizen, and we got to take care of them. We got to feed them. We got to bathe them, feed them, and give them health care. Okay? And so anybody can come over here, and that's okay. And what President Trump is going to say, he's like, look, they're advertising these 4,000 deliveries, and they're going to advertise more and more. So Trump warns ruling will be exploited. So they're going to go that route and say the exploitation of this, they're going to say, hey, look, if you are going to continue to utilize what you had ruled, the 6-3 decision, really it's a 5-4. You're basically saying that your decision will encourage a new wave of abuse at the southern border. And that's what they're going to say. His post will say, where critics long described as birth tourism, they're going to use that argument. They're going to say where foreign nationals travel to the United States so that children can receive citizenship. They're going to utilize their own, let's just say, 5-4 ruling and throw it back onto them and saying, what you're doing is you're allowing for said type of birth tourism or scams or people to legally marry or all these other things in order to bifurcate the general practices and laws of real citizenship, to go through the front door and do an end around all the time. And so instead of invading the country, they will find every way they can to push pregnant women over the fence or find some way they can push out their dirt slop, shit that thing out, the afterbirth, as I call it. And that afterbirth will be what automatic citizenship. I believe in some way President Trump is going to utilize this in some way. And that said signs, those billboards already appearing near the border in Mexico, and the advertisement of U.S. citizenship through childbirth will be what? The number one argument that the Solicitor General will make in saying is that your decision has not been in some way qualified to address this in appropriate manner. So we have to redress this, okay, in a different manner. Maybe we have to be a little bit more specific. Maybe we utilize Kavanaugh's redirection to Congress as an arbiter or as a bridge to turn this thing around to get the Supreme Court to what? Hear this. So the rules allow the petition for a rehearing within 25 days of a ruling being issued. However, a majority of justices would have agreed to rehear the case before the decision can be reconsidered. This makes the rehearing an uphill battle. Well, it does. But you have to reframe this in a different manner. You have to present a side that doesn't redress the former outcome. You have to say is that your outcome of the 6-3 decision of birthright citizenship that you wrote, as the majority opinion said, Roberts said, children born in the U.S., parents unlawfully to a temporary president are citizens at birth under the 14th Amendment. The ruling preserves the court interpretation of this, but blocks Trump effort to restrict automatic citizenship through executive action. You have to showcase that Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett's thought process in this that elevates and creates a worldwide panic to drop their dirt slop off in America to automatically become citizen without going through the proper channels. And it violates a lot of different laws in some way. So the decision immediately sparked criticism from conservatives who argue the 14th Amendment has been misread for decades. But the point being is that conservatives consider the next steps. They say they've argued constitutional amendment may be necessary. It's not going to be necessary. They could do it if we could do it after the election, but I don't think it's going to happen. He argued, Kavanaugh, concurring opinion that Trump's error was attempting to impose limits of the executive order. So you vacate that and say, we're not going to do an executive order. We want to say that what you have now acted upon has created what? A wealth, an operation, a facility, okay? A criminal enterprise. Your decision has created a criminal enterprise to do what? To keep the open border scenario viable. And this has nothing to do with the executive order. And I think in some way what they're going to do, how they're going to toggle this, how they're going to explain this in some way, will be redirected in a different narrative. So, Senior Polo, that's your answer, that they're going to argue this in a different format. And they're going to be specific on multiple levels. Not only what Congress has suggested, I think they're also going to bring in the Save America Act. They're also going to bring in other different talking points and, let's just say, narratives to sell this to them and say, hey, look, you have to redefine your 6-3-5-4 ruling to make sure that there are sections or different things that will disqualify all these other prevailing things that will fall under the initial ruling. That is the point. The initial ruling leaves a wide swath of interpretation. They have to narrow it down specifically to pinpoint, hey, that can't happen. That can't happen. That can't happen. And I do believe in some way the Supreme Court will hear this, because if they believe that any of their any of their rulings in some way help promulgate a negative response or maybe a criminal activity, they would be so inclined to hear this because it's not going to look good for them. It's not. And if there is a constitutional amendment to repeal this or many other laws that are going to be on the books that are going to be pushed through till we get to the Senate when they return on July 13th, that could be something else as for them to redirect their modus operandi and their decision-making to say, hey, look, let's just revisit it. Let's scale this out more specifically and not make it so fractionally opinionated about what the section had said during a certain time period about slave babies, okay? Maybe you need to go through this line by line, and I do believe there is an opportunity they're going to do that. Moving on. Thank you, Sean Joe. Hello, and thank you for the can. Hello, I'm on Give the Cookie. Brett, put out a poll on Pilled. What's more important, Kirk or voter fraud? I'm going to do that now. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let me see if I could do that. Let me put the widget out. There he goes. That. I'll put the poll out. So you're saying you want me to put that out? Fraud, what's more important? Let me see if I could do it. More important. Let's see. You're saying, Mom, more important. Kirk trial. Is that what you're saying, Kirk trial? Is that what you said? Let's see. Let me see where. I think thank you, Sean Joe, for the cookie again. I'm trying to be specific, but I got to narrow it down. I can't have so much verbiage here. More important, Kirk. Let's see. Kirk trial. Okay, Kirk trial. More important, Kirk trial. Or more important, or voter fraud. All right, I'm just going to do it here. Voter fraud. I'm not going to do it on Pilled. I might do it another, but I'm going to put this here. Let's see if I could do this. Add option. It won't let me. All right, I'll do it on Pilled. All right, let me get back to it because I gotta get back to this. I got so much more here and stuff. I don't know why it's not letting me do it. Usually I could do it here on. I don't know why it's not letting me do it. Okay, all right, let's continue on. So the housing bill, NPR puts this out. He's basically saying he's not signing it. He's basically telling Congress, "Fuck you. You're garbage. You're garbage. You're garbage humans." You don't want to pass the Save America Act. He's telling the Senate. It's not really the House. They passed it several times. But the major housing bill is set to become law at midnight. Even Trump says he won't sign it. So he's not going to give them anyway. He's like, it's not going to matter. It's a big yawn. It'll automatically pass. He doesn't have to sign it. I mean, he basically says Trump dismissed the bill, officially called the 21st century. He puts it here. Okay. 21st century Road to Housing Act is what of minor importance and canceled June White House ceremony. And he goes, Save America Act, that's it. To me, compared to Save America Act, nothing else matters. Yes, I think it's a better discussion. What's more important, Save America Act, the election, or the Charlie Kirk fucking distraction? I can give two fucks about it. I really can't anymore. I mean, listen, if you got enough goods to fucking execute the kid, go ahead. You want to go in the Matrix? You want to go through that Fed slop, dirt slob? Don't mind the evidence. We got the grainy footage from the grassy knoll. Oh, wait, we got the special footage from Space Force. We're going to go with that one. Okay, whatever. I'm done fucking litigating that, arguing that, and getting involved in all this other fractional stuff of less importance that bifurcates you from the real, let's just say, totality of our situation at the end, that our elections are on the table. Everything is about our elections now and in the future. Nothing else matters. It doesn't. It doesn't matter. If you don't have election integrity, doesn't matter. You don't have anything, as Spencer Pratt was saying. If we can't, and find way to go back and have a measure, let's just say a response to the measure of 2020, all these other things, we're not going to have a society much longer. We're going to lose this country, and we're going to lose it big. And I'm going to show it to you why. All right, let me get to Mitch McConnell. So apparently he's dead. He's dead. It doesn't matter. He's dead. June 13th, we'll get the answer. July 13th, we'll get the answer. CNN shows new images of Mitch McConnell on a stretcher. He was on a stretcher. He's dead.
Overnight, a CNN exclusive. CNN obtained video of emergency responders taking Senator Mitch McConnell to an ambulance. The neighbor who shot the video told CNN the Capitol Police blocked the street, and other neighbors reported seeing McConnell's face. This was a month ago, and it comes nearly a month after a spokesperson for McConnell first reported that the Senate.
So this happened June 14th. We're now going into July 11th or 12th. On the 13th, the Senate returns, and we'll probably hear that he's dead.
Has been hospitalized, but few other details have been released. Let's get to Annie Greer, who helped break this story. So talk to us about this video and how it fills in the pieces of the puzzle.
So, John, what I heard from a neighbor of McConnell's around 8:30 in the morning on June 14th, this neighbor opened their door to commotion on the street. They saw two ambulances, a fire truck, and Capitol Police had blocked off the entire road. So this neighbor stayed on the street to try and figure out what was going on. And about half an hour later, at around 9 o'clock in the morning, this neighbor saw a person from McConnell's home being carried on a stretcher into an ambulance, and said that they saw this person was wrapped in a blanket and that their feet was exposed, and that another neighbor standing next to them identified McConnell's face and saw that McConnell wasn't wearing an oxygen mask. So the firsthand witness that I spoke to said that they tried to ask Capitol Police what was going on, and all they were told was it was a medical emergency. They wouldn't confirm who it was for. And these new details come as we know very little about Senator McConnell's condition, why he was brought to the hospital on June 14th, and why he remains there. His team, all they have told us is that he is in the hospital and that he is recovering. But we do know that there is also EMS audio that shows that first responders came to McConnell's home on June 14th to respond to somebody who was unconscious, who was under cardiac arrest and needed CPR. So since that audio recording has come out, McConnell's team has maintained that the senator is recovering in the hospital. Senate Republican leadership in recent days has said that they've spoken to the senator, each for around 20 minutes or so. But this entire episode has just brought to the forefront and raised questions about what level of transparency lawmakers who are dealing with a medical condition have to share about their situation while also protecting their personal privacy and serious health matters. So that is what is unfolding on the Hill. And this firsthand account and this video, John, is providing a little more detail about an account that we're really still trying to piece together.
There really is no transparency and almost no requirement.
Wow. No transparency, no requirement, no nothing. And we're all fixated on a dead Charlie Kirk, that we think that, Tyler Robinson was framed or not framed. Doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. I think Heather Stanton over here on YouTube, I think Charlie faked his death and he's in protective custody. I'm sticking to it. I kind of like where you're going with that. I do too. Do we have any evidence of it? No. Is it plausible? Because his, let's just say that his viability, everything that he represented. Yeah, I can't disagree with you. I lean towards that myself. Can't prove it. Sounds like Tyler is a patsy, just like Lee. Yeah, James. Yeah. Like I said, I just don't care anymore because, I'm not going to be one of those people seal clapping. We got the video. We got this. We got that. You know what? Doesn't matter. It's not going to change anything. And all the other people that are biting hook, line, and sinker on Prosobic and Benny Johnson, good luck to you. Your reputation going to go down the drain. You know why? Because I remember not too long ago in April that you were ripping Pam Bondi in February, March. You were ripping that. You were making fun of all these people. I got the Epstein vinyl. I got the Epstein vinyl. I got this. I got that. Goo goo gaga gaga. I got all this stuff. And I got the power to release all this stuff. And what happened? It was a big fucking dud of bullshit. They got fucking egg on their face. Every single one of them got handed a fucking cum shot. Yeah, they did. Hate to say it. You got handed a cum shot. There you were. You were on full blast. You got exposed. And that's what it was about. And Pam Bondi proved that all these fucking, magoos over there, all right? Those lackeys. They got fucking done. Boop. You got blasted. And I'm good. I'm glad. Now you want to support these guys and believe them and listen to what they're saying now. Good luck to you. Have fun, buddy. It's all fine and dandy, but it ain't going to come back, okay, to help you later on when the jury decides another matter, if it gets to a jury trial. Moving on. What difference does it make? Here we go. A lot of stuff is happening with the White House. President Trump right now, we're hearing that he's under duress. There's threats against his life, much more prolific than it's ever been. It's exacerbating. We don't know what's going on. White House reveals what really led to last-minute Air Force switcheroo. Every tool at our disposal. To me, again, ask everybody in the chat. All right, what's more important? President Trump's security, safety, viability, okay, or this fucking Tyler Robinson case, okay? Birthright citizenship or Tyler Robinson. I can go on and on and on. It doesn't matter. I don't fucking care. All right. There was a surge midweek. Speculation. Trump reportedly switched his new presidential jet, as we discussed the other day on Wednesday, the previous version, to Air Force One. The new Air Force One is a state-of-art aircraft that has been fitted with high-level security protocols that ensure safety of the president and his staff. White House Communications Director Stephen Chung said in a statement, as the president said recently, there are many enemies of America who have their sights on him, and we use every tool at our disposal, including distraction and misdirection, to address those threats. Trump took to the older baby blue model of Air Force One, and when departing from NATO summit in Ankara on Wednesday to fly the Royal Air Force Mindahall base in UK. So that's what it was. I'll play a little bit of this. Again, misdirection, sleight of hand, a little magic. If you like magic, whatever. It's all about look over here, not over here. And that's what the whole story was about that. Was there a circumference of truth about this regarding his, let's just say, his viability? Yeah. And his protection? Absolutely. They're not dismissing it. They're saying that we had to do things differently. We had to elevate before things got out of hand. We didn't know what was going to happen. I told you that on Wednesday. If you go back and watch that show, which is a fantastic show, let's continue on and play this.
Reporters asked him why he flew out of Turkey on the old Air Force One. The president in this Truth Social post says the new Air Force One was being showcased to service members of
That's
Royal
not
Air
true.
Force Mildenhall in the United Kingdom. Still, the move raised questions about the security of his Qatari-donated Boeing 747 and whether it has the full suite of defensive upgrades of the older aircraft, like an advanced missile defense system. The New York Times reports the president was advised by the Secret Service to make the switch as a precautionary measure and not because of a specific threat. The president brushing off concerns about the new plane and his life as he was pressed by reporters asking why they had to close their blinds on their flight from Turkey to the UK on the old plane.
Do you know why they had us close our window blinds? That was unusual.
Well, yeah, because you're probably on a dangerous flight because of the sleaze bags that we have to deal with.
White House spokesperson Stephen Chung tells Fox News the new Air Force One is a state-of-the-art aircraft that has been fitted with high-level security protocols that ensure the safety of the president and his staff. As the president has said recently, there are many enemies of America.
Reminds me of an uncle a long time ago. The sleaze bags. They're all fucking sleaze bags. Ah, I love it. But the bottom line is, you have to take from this that there's something happening right now. The threats are underway. They're fortifying. They're protecting the president. They're looking at certain things that are happening that we need to what? Consider. While you're all distracted with Charlie Kirk, let's just say, the Tyler Robinson trial, don't. Thank you, Senior Polo. Gift of the can. I follow the Charlie Kirk trial, the Tyler Robinson trial. In the background are more important things to worry about. Yep, absolutely. Doesn't matter. He's already dead. They already have their man. It doesn't matter what's going to happen. They're going to convict him unless the jury thinks otherwise. But from this standpoint out, it's done. Whether he survives it before the trial in the next couple of months or doesn't make it, doesn't matter. They got their guy, and they're not going to let them. Let's put it this way. The hooks are in. They're not going to let him go. The Patsy deal is already sold. And a lot of these idiots, big names, people that I respect and I like, hey, man, that's all you, buddy. You can have all that. You could suck on that, okay? Enjoy that. Smoke on that a little bit. Not me. But I'm not going to sit there and say, hey, I was controlled by this, or I was controlled by that, or I bought into this or bought into that. Have my own subjective viewpoints, and I don't fucking care anymore. Darla Gift at the can. The most important thing right now, save America. That's it. If anybody is in your face about wanting to push the Tyler Robinson case, or push Candace or Ian Carroll or any of these other fucking mooks, or big names, people we like, who think that, like, this is the most important thing. It's not. No one gives a fuck. You know, the people I talk to, they care less. They don't fucking care. They're like, oh, I thought they got the guy and he's done. No one cares. From their standpoint, it's already over, okay? Their transparency, their attitude and stuff like that. What are we going to do about our elections? What are we going to do about this? No one cares anymore. It's over. I hate to say it. It is. He's been dead over a year. And, we're sitting there toiling with pointing fingers at each other. You guys, this call. You can't even have an honest conversation about anything about it. So you know what? I don't fucking care anymore. Don't come at me at all. If you don't want to discuss the most important topics of the day, then you can fuck right off and sit there and stream 24 hours, 48 hours. I don't give a shit all day about the Tyler Robinson case because nothing's going to change about it. Nothing. Okay? All you're going to do is what? Waste your time spinning your wheels about this or that. This is the fucking fight. Okay? And something down the path very soon is going to happen in our country, which is going to be blamed on Iran. And this shit's going to go off the rails. But you're exactly right. Israel allegedly shared evidence with the U.S. that Iran was considering a new plan to assassinate the president. Sure, Jan. This is MJ. Truth puts this out. I believe Mossad, A or B. Details regarding the assassination plot were not immediately clear, and the Israeli embassy in Washington has declined to comment. Of course they have. So when, they're on their opportunity to what? Finalize a peace deal. I put it out joking around. I'm like, hey, President Trump should just announce, go on live at the Oval Office, say, get out of Tehran, because in the next 24 hours, we're going to carpet bomb the whole city. And just fucking scare the shit out of them. Just lay it all out. Don't have to do it, but scare the bejesus out of it. Watch that fucking thing go up in flames. Watch the people go and go after. Watch the whole place just turn up to be an apocalyptic movie, a zombie movie. All he has to do is go in to the White House and say to the people of Iran, I love you and support you, but my estimations will tell you right now, if you don't leave the area in the next 24 hours, you could be what? Killed, maimed, harmed because of the regime, the IRGC, or many people in this government. You could go on a diatribe and just put this out there. Now, I don't even know if they're getting this media or not, but you can make that so that other people are picking that up. And that would cause a panic that has not been seen. Oh, that would be beautiful. Glorious. Maybe. I don't know. Would it matter? I have no idea. But the only thing these people fear is what? Being bombed to death, being attacked. I don't know what's going to take to happen. I think a lot of this stuff is scripted. Personally, I don't necessarily think what we're seeing, what we're understanding is what we're made to understand. Here goes Steve Bannon. I'm not a big fan of this guy. He's got his own fucking problems. Okay? All right. But he says this makes sense. This thing about Mossad tipping off President Trump about potential assassination attempt by Iran is laughable. Now, is he America First guy, a MAGA guy? Is he towing the line at MTG? No. I think he makes a good point. Let me get this right. This is the same group that completely miscalculated the situation in Iran. Let's be honest. They sold the president a bill of goods. See, there's a lot of people in that orbit are saying that President Trump was suckered into doing this. Do you believe that in the chat, that President Trump was suckered into attacking Iran? Meaning faulty intelligence, Mossad, Israel, what have you. If he gets his actionable intelligence, that we all sit back and say, don't worry, it's all good. It's clear, it's decisive. But he's presenting an argument saying, President Trump is listening to the Jews. He's listening, Israelis, the Mossad. And again, we still don't have answers for inciting the incident of October 7th. Yeah, I agree that the whole thing was another orchestration, another facilitation. It doesn't make any sense. Now Mossad is desperately trying to push that Iran is attempting to assassinate the president. Look, whether or not Mossad is pushing this or it's real or not, a lot of people are picking up on this. They're moving forward with this in some way. President Trump's life is in danger, has been for a while. To placate this, to downplay this in some way, to make this something as a joke that Mossad doesn't have actual intelligence, that's fine. But don't downplay this. Don't pretend his life is not at threat. And it may not be with Iran, per se. Maybe with other people. Yes, even Israel themselves. But don't downplay it. That's what I don't like. All right? That's what I don't like.
The Mossad has tipped off President Trump about a potential assassination attempt. It's laughable. Okay? Just laughable. More bad. The same group, let me get this right, the same group that completely miscalculated the situation in Iran about the people supported the regime. And yes, let's be honest, they sold the president.
See, what it is that it's not brand new. Iran has wanted Trump dead for years, since Soleimani in 2020. The U.S. has foiled multiple plots involving IRGC operatives, proxies, hired killers, and then some. It does fit a pattern recognition. However, Israeli sourcing, is it sketch? Israeli has an excellent human intelligence inside Iran and strong motives to highlight threats to keep the U.S. pressure on Tehran high and align Trump with tougher policies? Maybe. Some U.S. officials see this as partly diplomatic, a nudge to influence, possibly, Trump's decisions on Iran strikes or negotiations? Yeah. I think right now is that the U.S. view is that American intelligence has picked up steady drumbeats of similar threats recently, but they haven't independently confirmed that. Interesting. This is this exact new plot. It's treated seriously, hence Trump's plane swap and public comments, but not as a gospel, and also as a precaution of keeping Trump 3 days around D.C. in the White House. The escalation signal. This comes amid active U.S.-Iran clashes, deterrence of politics. Trump's public, I've left instructions to bomb them massively in response to classic massive pressure signaling it tells Iran. Is there a threat that we're going to see President Trump be hit and killed? Or is it going to be staged? Is there going to be a staged assassination attempt and we're not going to know what's going to happen to President Trump in the next couple of days? Play this out. We've already seen this. Play this out a lot longer. Is it possible? Why suggest over and over again, I've left instructions to bomb them massively? What does it mean? He's not talking to the Iranians. He's talking to NATO. He's talking to the proxies. He's talking to the bankster London, people from London, the banksters, the cabal. He's talking to the very deep, dark, okay, that run the fucking what? The show. He's talking about what? I watched Ready or Not 2 last night. Go watch that movie. It's on Hulu. Holy shit. Bonnie Tyler died. Total Eclipse of the Heart and all that stuff. It was played in that movie and she just died recently. They were talking about Satan, Beelzebub, and Baal, all these other things. Go watch it. I'll have another story on that. But that blew me away. So the real risk to Trump's Secret Service and intelligence community are taking Iranian threats seriously. Well, they ramped up protection, but things are getting a little bit more dicey, and we're not really being told the truth about it. Let's continue.
And the bill of goods and the people around the president that bought it. In addition, they still haven't had any inquiry commission in Israel, no formal, because Netanyahu and the Mossad are blocking it, about their culpability, either incompetence, malfeasance, or I don't know, maybe even acknowledgement of October 7th. We got to get to the bottom of October 7th. If they've sucked us into this war, we need to know the inciting incident, how it all came about. But no, the Mossad now desperately trying to push, they're trying to assassinate the president. Isn't it very nice that he's going to get mad? Maybe we should go back and do a ground invasion.
No, I mean, he makes a good point. They're pushing us into what? And I've always said that probably a month or two ago, we talked about it on the show. And when Marshall was here, I said it. We already have Karg Island. We already have people there. Glory B says over here on Rumble, Dr. Steve Turley said that the Kurds are fighting the Iranian soldiers in the north. So they're trying to help us. No one is reporting this. Okay. Again, I haven't heard anything about it. I haven't been able to see. I'll have to look into it. All right, let's continue on. And we know he's got some good stuff. I like the guy. Christian, white, MAGA, what have you. Can't beat that. Put this out. Iranian regime is furious after President Trump pummeled 170 targets. Technical talks continue, and Iran's leaders are calling Trump to make a deal. Who are these leaders? We're hearing a lot of stuff that's being imbued out that there are leaders. Who are these people? None of these people are alive. You have a bunch of, let's just say, independent vassals that are all over the place that are competing for power, that are operating in the general operation on the ground like a bunch of fucking drone ants. You have no idea who's in charge, but really the proxy power comes from outside the country, and whoever that is in some way, we'll figure it out. Yeah, I miss Marshall. He'll come back here and there. When we do Florida politics, I'll bring him on. Yeah. Okay, let's continue.
We have just been given an update on what's been happening with Iran. A U.S. official telling us that technical talks will continue with Iran despite those strikes back and forth. And the administration is still committed to finding a resolution. That is coming from the administration, even after Iran violated this memorandum of understanding. And even as millions of Iranians flooded the streets today in Iran, threatening to kill the president.
Hundreds of mourners dressed in black hold a giant red flag that reads, "We will kill Trump."
Another group of women hold up puzzle pieces that read, "Killing you is not enough. For us, we want to uproot demons." And this man holds up a sign that simply reads, "Revenge." That is the message Iran...
So the question is, do the Iranian people want freedom and prosperity? I mean, we were told 40 to 50,000 were executed, demonstrating against the government. So who are these people? Are these people just what? They're an effect? They're a sideshow? They're stage people? Or is it real? Have we gotten the message wrong about the Iranian people? Should we really care about them? Can we really trust them in general? Probably not. But do you care? As Americans, we got so many problems inside. I don't give a fuck about these people. It's not our problem to care about these people. It's not. I'm not saying carpet bomb Tehran. What I'm saying is maybe we put out a message to scare the bejesus out of the people and see if they're willing enough to what? Take down whatever elements of government are left standing. That's what I was saying. And an ex said, you can't say that. And I was saying that we use that as an argument, as a platitude to see if they're going to overthrow their own government. Maybe they don't want to. Maybe some people are completely convinced. They're suckered in. They're brainwashed. This is it. This is the best I'm going to have. Maybe. I don't know. But does it really matter? Does it really impact? We got to get out of here. I am so sick of the Middle East. I don't give a fuck about any of these dirt slop Middle Eastern third world countries. I don't care. Let them prosper on their own. Let them have a life that's fruitful and viable. Hey, fight amongst yourselves. Hopefully not. We don't want that. Hey, and if Israel gets out of hand, smack them around. Hey, you're on your own. We're giving Turkey the key. You get out of hand, Turkey's army is going to fucking take you out. Look, I think at this point with Iran, we were sold many different scenarios, lies, conversations that we're going to this, that, the other thing. And whether or not it was Bibi Netanyahu who's stepping down, naming someone new. He's keeping it secret, of course. And also his kids are changing his name, as I reported on Wednesday, because they're going to slip and slide out because they don't want anybody to know that after Bibi is done, they don't want to have that name. Yeah, they don't want that, baby. But I think ultimately right now, this is it. Once this is done, it's over. We can no longer be involved with these Middle East countries. Number one, we're tired of it. We have a Muslim problem in our country that needs to be dealt with. We have an actual situation with fake Jews that are impersonating other things that are affecting our government institutions. Yeah, they're not really Jews or the Israeli AIPAC or other things and stuff. You got the culture ones, the Orthodox ones. You got all these other different people, the Khazars, what you call them. But you have many different factions that are operating nefariously to undertake our country, to undercut our civilization. We're fighting so many fronts. Whatever. Just put it in one relevant discussion of Bolsheviks. That's what it is. That's what I call them. And they're starting to show who they are. You're starting to see the lines of pattern disseminate. I'm not going to cover this much longer. I don't think we have much more time. Continue on. Thank you, Trump one for the cookie, Senior Paul. The can. Trump knows he's number one on the assassination list around the world. It's not new to him. It's not new, but there's an elevated uptick of conversation about this that is going to lead for something that is, let's just say, left on the table for us to digest. Senior Paul, get the can and follow Charlie Kirk trial. Back are more important things. Yes, sir. There are more important things. Absolutely, 100%. If you think that's the number one thing that you should be focused on, streaming 24/7 and watching that, you are sorely mistaken. In fact, you don't really have a pulse of what's going on in this country because no one gives a fuck. Most people I talk about, they don't care. I thought they caught the guy. Execute him. They don't care. They're not into the nitty gritty. They're not into it. They're worried about how they could pay less gas, how all the other things, the minutia that's happening. They don't care. They don't care. Everybody I talk to, yeah, it said he's not, but we're moving on. We have to move on. There are people living and they want to live at least as best as they can before they die. That's the point. And that's where I'm at. And that's why I don't give a fuck anymore about all this bullshit. So the New York Post puts this out. Again, I'm jumping on this in some way because it's part of the show. Iran's threat, real kind of. The Post puts out instructions before to assassinate. There is something now that is being put in the actual American purview. It's being facilitated. It's being orchestrated out. Now, whether you think this is subterfuge or intrigue or some type of management or perception, deception in some way, the machinations of these discussions are happening, are upticking. So are we to believe that something is going to happen to our president, happen to the White House, happen in general, happen in tow? Now, firing all these electors, okay, that are entranced with this agency, there's a corrupt agency, is also going to be, let's just say, part and parcel of the discussion, because I do believe that there is going to be some appraisal or reprisal that is going to happen. And I believe in some way they're planning on something. Now, we should be prepared if something is going to happen, and it may not happen in the way. Hey, Trump will kill you. This is the New York Post. No, Israel came up with nothing. No. He said here, number one, Iran's kill list, not for a long time. Later, CNN reported Israel intelligence shared. I'm not believing Israel intelligence does it. I don't believe President Trump gets his Israeli intelligence from them. I believe that's all sequestered out through ODNI, CIA, what have you. President Trump receives his military, let's just say, intelligence from deep-rooted sources. That's how things are operating on. He doesn't activate and he doesn't discuss things. So when you start to see things that could be fishy, that could be let's just say odd, like the plane switcheroo, then that's a viable threat. Then he was given actual intelligence, not by the CIA, ODNI. He was given actual intelligence, and he was told this is the best opportunity. They foresaw it in some way. I believe they foresee a lot of these different things, and they maneuver around. I mean, Al Monitor puts this out and warns us, and this is a good one. Another good article as I move on, because these are the threats as we get into other discussions. Here we are. Israel warns of the U.S.-Iran plot to assassinate Trump. Again, they're talking about this. Israel's warned. Again, it's always Israel, Israel, Israel. What happened? Israel shared intelligence. Israel shared intelligence. That's why Bannon is saying it's not Israel. I mean, if we're going to say Israel is sharing intelligence, then we can equally say that Israel is involved with keeping this war alive. Maybe they want a deal, but yet we're sharing actual intelligence of threats and thus keeping this prolonged. And as it appears, I don't believe President Trump is listening to them at all. I think this is a complete orchestration, a theatrical masterpiece. That's what you're made to see. That's what you're made to swallow. That's what you're made to digest. But it may not be what we perceive it to be at the moment. It's just what's availed to us. And that's what you need to take from that. It's not necessarily as you see it or as you perceive it, okay? It's how it's being foisted upon us, is how it's deconstructed. And you say, oh, there you go, Israel again, Israel again, Israel again. And do you believe President Trump, okay, gets only his actual intelligence from Mossad and Israel? Do you believe that? I'm not going to argue in some way because I have no definitive proof one way or another. That what? That Israel did convey to CIA or any other intelligence apparatus X, Y, and Z. Doesn't mean they didn't convey anything. Doesn't mean it was listened to, adhered to, or it was proffered, it was suggested, it was digested. Don't know, don't care. But I don't believe he listens to any of these, let's just say, coordinated agencies that are been broken for a long time and are not working in his favor in some way. That's why he put Bill Bolte and ODNI to destroy these people. So breaking, the DOJ has officially charged 8 people planning a mass casualty event. Remember, at the White House UFC fight. Listen to this. This is big.
Through this investigation, we learned the group allegedly planned to carry out a mass casualty attack involving the use of drones, armed with explosives and firearms meant to shoot people fleeing in the crowds. Our command posts also included membership of the Secret Service and other partners to share information in real time and to help ensure no violence occurred at the White House UFC event.
So why is that putting out at the same time that we're seeing an elevated response of what? Death threats against the Trump administration, the White House, or anything out there? Why is all this at this time? We're hearing that Trump is basically cleared his time frame. So 3 days out, there'll be nothing on the agenda. They're hiding it. They're not putting this out in some way. So why be so emboldened in some way to readily put out all this stuff to let people know, hey, we're under duress, we're under attack, we're under assault? Isn't necessarily about Iran, or we're leading toward more domestic issues. I think realistically, hearing that, and you know, what I found out about, and I covered it, a lot of that stuff was all chatter on Signal, Discord, all these other things. And whether or not they had the gumption, the availability, the saleability, the financial wherewithal, the drones, all this stuff, they were plotting and what? Working on a conspiracy theory. So be careful about where you are and what you say to somebody. There's always somebody listening in the background. I'm not on Signal. I'm on Telegram. Be careful about that. I don't even talk like that. I don't have those commentaries and stuff in some way. I'm on X. I don't even speak that way. And you got to be prepared, because I was joking around. I'm like, just tell them we're going to carpet bomb them as a joke and see what happens. And of course, X said, no, you got to remove that. I'm like, okay, I'll remove that. But I think President Trump needs to consider in some way, address a lot of these things that a lot of people are worried. He keeps saying, you're going to miss me when I'm gone. But why do you keep saying that? Are you trying to draw people in to something that might or might not happen? Mr. President, do you understand? By telling the American electorate that there's going to be an assassination attempt and you might not make it is very dark. Is a very dark. It's almost Kennedy-esque. Kennedy had the same type of attitude. He glorified his death in some way. He knew that he, in some way, prognosticated his death. I don't want the same thing to happen to this man. I am really bothered that he talks like this in a very dark and deep, subtle way. I mean, is it germane and, let's just say, recognizable and understandable? But he's very flippant about everything. I mean, does he consider that about his family? Forget about us and the American electorate, even though he has a responsibility to them, to you, to me, to us. Consider about how his family is. Maybe they look at it as a flippant conversation. Maybe does he have this acquiescence to death like Kennedy did? What are you saying? What are you trying to gin up? I don't like it. I don't like it. And I'm very concerned that we're sitting there in some way, we're comfortably numb with like just digesting this, and then we're becoming anesthetized. Well, it's okay. He's been assassinated. He's been shot at multiple times. So, nothing to see here. He's going to be fine in some way. I don't find any of this stuff comfortable. I find it very uncomfortable. I love this president, regardless of anything, and anything happens to them. I can promise you right now, there'll be many people like myself. If anything, honestly, this country will descend into chaos. Yes, it will. And I just hope that it doesn't. But if anything happens to him in this matter, that as he's foreshadowing, yeah, it's, there's a lot of people that I know, like, yeah, chaos will ensue. It'll be target practice. We'll be on the hunt. I look, illegal aliens, we'll cover Shine Bomb, but look, I don't fucking care about one dead Mexican. There are thousands upon thousands of women been raped and murdered by illegal alien scum. So one dead Mexican who's illegal, who gets pulled over by ICE, I don't fucking care. Your life is meaningless. dirt slop. You're illegal to begin with. If I pulled over or didn't pull over when the police here in Tampa and they chased me down, they're going to fucking open fire. They're going to ram my car over and they're going to take me out. And I'm an American citizen and I have rights. Why do you think you have more rights than an American citizen living here? You don't. Your life is dirt slop. Your life is worth a $3 bill. It doesn't exist. Just think in some way that we have thousands upon thousands, maybe 10,000. You know, they don't. I was looking this up. They don't. It'll go back the last 10 years. They don't have an actual database. They do state by state in some way on convictions and all the incarceration stuff, but they don't have a database of all the drunk Mexicans running over, killing American citizens and families. They don't have databases based upon individual dirt slop, third world scum, who they are, killing American citizens, thousands upon thousands. It's like 4,000 they do state by state. And you're worried about one dead Mexican? One dead Mexican is like when I take a shit and I forgot to wipe my ass because I didn't have enough toilet paper. That's one dead Mexican. I don't care about his family. I don't care. You're here illegally. You mean nothing in the world that I understand. And the fact is, your countrymen continue to rape, pillage, destroy, commit fraud. Why would I care? And then your Jew president, your bagel president that was installed, and we know they were installed, protects the cartel. Like, she's like, yeah, we're going to sue. We will carpet bomb you to death. He will pluck you out of your fucking fake fucking mud hut. Okay? And drop you in the middle of the fucking what? Gulf of America. And let the fucking sharks fucking dine on your snatch. Fuck you. Who the fuck are you? I fucking hate Mexico. We should not be traveling there. Fuck that. It's a cartel state. Who the fuck is that fucking Jew broad to tell us anything? Oh, we're going to sue. We should sue for how many thousands of American citizens have been run over by the drunk drivers of your Mexican illegal criminal alien scum. Not to mention all the murders and rapes. Oh, we don't want to hang it up all in Mexico. Don't worry, honey. I got enough fucking countries on a list that I could say that are just bigger pieces of shit than your third world slop. Why we drink healthy water with lemon, you down your Coronas and your fucking what? And your fucking Tecates, fuck you. We live on a different subset than you. Fine. You know what? It's time to take over Mexico. I can't wait for Canada. I want it all. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Surrender. Kneel to Zod. It's about time. I hate these people. I hate this culture. I hate this community and stuff. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. I like the Mexican feud. Fuck you. Fuck your culture. Your rapey, murder, drunk driving culture. Do you know Mexicans have the highest fucking murder rate and drunk driving, killing American citizens and families? In Texas, they killed 4,000. You don't even know the rapey culture. These people are not your allies. They're not your friends. I don't care what happened in Houston. Fuck that guy. And he wasn't even the one they were looking for. But you decided, hey, I got to dip out. Use my car as like a weapon. Look, if I use my fucking lease car as a weapon to avoid police, it would be no different. They would fucking take me out. They would kill me. That's how it is. It doesn't. You don't have to be an illegal or a criminal. It's just what? The flares. The antennas go up higher. As an American citizen, I'm afforded rights. But if I utilize my rights properly and they violate it, well, then I can take their lifeblood away. I could sue them. There are what? Recourses of action. There are. But you don't have a recourse of action. You're not even here. We don't even recognize you as what? A human being or anything that is allowed to be in this country. We should be looking about every illegal as a fraudulent element, not an illegal alien, that they are what? A purveyor of fraud. They pretend to be something that they're not, and they don't exist in the world that you and I occupy. That's why the banks have to shut down all the lending, no longer doing business with them. Once you cut off the economic bloodstream of these criminal enterprise of all these people that are coming in here, whether H-1B visas, and all these other fucking scum. Yeah, I saw what's happening with the Xbox thing. Yeah, that fucking broad. Yeah, all this stuff's got to go. You cut off the lifeblood, they won't stay here because they're not going to be able to do business unless it's illegal. But they still do that anyway. I'm sick of them getting carte blanche and allowed to do things that they can get away with. So what do we do when a Mexican runs over a family of 4 with children, kills them in a drunk driving accident? We deport him. Yeah, he doesn't get prosecuted. No, he should get executed. And that motherfucking Mexican is for all the Mexicans that committed crimes in this country. You got. Fuck you and your family. And this is a message to everybody. ICE is coming for you. You get out of line. You step out of toe. Pop, pop, pop. I told you, if they don't do it, vigilante justice will come into tow. Fuck all these people. I have no quarter for these. Fuck these people. You shouldn't give a fuck. They will murder. How about the one broad in New York? She comes from Ireland. She gets murdered by someone she met at a pro-Hamas rally. That was some dirt slop, third world scum. Kills her. Daughter finds her, mangled to death, stabbed to death. These people are not your friend. If you're not looking at someone like me, who look like me, who smell like me, who have the eyes like me, who have all the stuff, everything else, watch your back, watch your 6. You know it and I know it. If it ain't white, it ain't right. Well, let me continue on before we dip out. Let's play one more thing here. Oh, this is what I wanted to get to. And let me get to you. Thank yous. I appreciate a lot of stuff. Would you say thank you for the 719 gold pills? Need more gold pill love? Yeah, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Always here. Darla, gift of the ship. Thank you, Brett. Your hard work bring us all the hot topics. Well, I appreciate you liking it and being here, Darla. Al. I mean, it's about you guys liking what I'm putting out and you enjoying it. It's not about me doing the hard work. Yeah, I put a lot of this stuff together. It's hoping that I can convey a certain viewpoint. Look, it's always up to you to figure out what's important, what you need to figure out. And that's what I was trying to tell you. The Tyler Robinson case is so off the rails, it doesn't even matter anymore. And I'm completely convinced that so many people that I actually personally like that are rolling with Jack Posobiec and Benny Johnson, I think they're completely, they've lost all credibility. Because they haven't seen the video footage, number one, and they're trust me, bro, people, from providing them what? Trust me, bro, I got the binders. I got the truth about Epstein. Trust me, bro, stuff. And I'm deeply just disgusted that you're going to go that angle. That's why I'm just like, have fun with that one. Good luck. Good luck. I'm done with that shit. Trusty Turnip, give the cookie. It's because no way thinks that we will find out the real truth anyway. Yeah, they won't. They won't. And it doesn't even matter at this point. Let me show you this. This was, why is it not? Okay. So they put this out. Here we go. These are the communists, ladies and gentlemen. This is their manifesto. This is what they're telling you. The DSA, the Democrat Socialist America, released a laundry list of demands, Fox News reported. According to a source with DSA's planning, the organization plans to roll out an update next week. Oh, to the U.S. Senate. Here we go. In addition to regularly altering the country's 3-branch form of government, the DSA's existing platform also advocates establishing 32-hour work week, no reduction in pay or benefits, the passage of Medicare for all, canceling all student loan debt, and the elimination of cash bail and universal rent control. Now, if you want to get rid of student loan debt and I paid my student loan off, do I get a reimbursement? Think about that. How about many other people? The Democrat Socialist Policy Platform is literally designed to make America weaker. Demineralization, increased financial commitments to unstable levels. The DSA is also destroying altogether, wants to eliminate President Trump's, eliminate the Senate, eliminate the United States. They want to do more, destroy America. Al Qaeda did. There's more new things that I'll drop in the chat. Democrat Socialists of America platform calls for ambitious reforms, including the adoption of a new constitution and allowing non-citizens to vote against and according to the program of 2025-6. That's it. That's the bottom line. I'm going to drop this in the chat. You need to look this up. Check out I would say Twitter, X, because I could tell you right now, there's some ugly stuff in this. Now you're seeing who they are. They're amplifying their plan, and they're going to push forward. I believe that we're going to be under attack very soon for many different elements of our country that are hidden in the shadows. Let me see this right now. Before we dip out, I got a couple more things. Man, I got more. Okay, let me put this out. This is good. Now, let me drop this. Listen. Let's listen to this a little bit, and then we'll dip out. This was good. David Rothford's show. Professor David Clements explains the Supreme Court's slaughter decision as we were talking today. For the past 7 years, presidents have been curbed for firing independent government agency, unless there's a cause reason, no longer. This was pretty good. I'll play a little bit of this.
I think really ties this together, which is the slaughter decision. And it's probably best to bring it up now.
Please. Yeah. Would you just give a background and so everybody understands?
Sure. So for the past 70 years, presidents have been curbed from firing independent, quote unquote, government agencies unless there is a for-cause reason.
We used to joke in the CEO in the CIA as contractors. We'd be out in the field and we'd see, full timers who had zero business being in these areas whatsoever, much less being in the intelligence world. And we would laugh. They would come in, completely mess up, and then they would go back and get a promotion and keep getting higher up at the agency. It was so funny because nobody could get fired.
Yeah, well, under the fact patterns of slaughter, the agency that was under the crosshairs was the Federal Trade Commission. And so you're looking at usually these independent agencies are kind of composites of a Republican gets to nominate and put someone forward, a Democrat gets to do that. And at some point, the Senate is supposed to give you a confirmation after they give their advice to the president. And so presidents have been hamstrung when they've been saddled with independent agencies that don't believe in their policies, fight against their policies. And Trump basically has been firing people left and right, and this litigation ensued. And surprisingly, the Supreme Court said, the president under Article 2 has the right to fire anyone he wants, even in these independent agencies. Now, why is this important with respect to elections? FTC is one thing, but the holding is much broader. You have an entity called the Election Assistance Commission, which is an independent agency. It's an independent board that serves at the pleasure of the president. Now getting the right people there, that's a more cumbersome process because I think the Speaker of the House gets to put someone forward, Senate Majority Leader gets to put someone forward, and then the minority leaders get to put someone forward. So you could count on Speaker Johnson to give you a quality pick, and everyone else, you're not going to get anyone that's worth crap. But at least in theory, right now, he can fire the entire board as it's comprised, and it's completely constitutional. So let's talk about the power of the Election Assistance Commission. They get to decertify the machines if they want to.
Wow.
Okay, so this is already congressionally authorized.
Think about
this. It's already on the books. That's their
Listen
job.
to that.
They can right now say the elections are vulnerable, the machines are crap.
Listen,
we're decertifying them. And in some states, you would say, well, this is just voluntary guidance.
No.
This isn't like anyone really has to listen to the EAC. Well, not necessarily.
Nope.
most of the state legislatures have codified or adopted the EAC standards, and there's usually buy-in that you're going to abide by federal regulations to get federal money. So
do you understand this right now? I'm explaining you the most germane, important subject of tonight's discussion that really has to do with what? Fuck the Tyler Robinson case. He's basically saying the slaughter decision has now given President Trump to whitewash the EAC. And the EAC has so many different prevailing, let's just say, entanglements. And he's undercutting it. He's clipping it off at many different levels. The mail-in ballots, the machines. Listen to this. This is what I was talking about and how this is important. In some way, a lot of people, when they find out how serious this goes, it's going to be game over.
For all intents and purposes, if the EAC were to decertify the machines,
wow,
it's game over.
Yep.
So this holding provides an amazing opportunity.
So the EAC has no people in it. It's comprised of 4 people, but there's nobody there. 2 people are fired. One resigned, and another one was, dipped out on their own or whatever. There's nobody there. It's an empty shell. So what's going to come in its place? Are you listening to this? Do you understand how President Trump is bifurcating all these different things that the Congress didn't do, that the Senate didn't do, the Supreme Court didn't do, but it's not their obligation to do that. It's our Congress to do it. And President Trump, without him, none of this would move forward in a way. This decision of slaughter is bigger than you can possibly imagine. He can eviscerate and whitewash everything into the ether. Disappear it, into what? Stone, rubble. It's gone. It's dust in the air. Doesn't mean anything. Do you understand that? And while you talk about Tyler Robinson, this was the most important thing, and how he's resetting our elections come November.
Opportunity for Trump to start firing people right out the gate. Bill Pulte, who's overseeing ODNI, has been given a mandate to downsize and fire everyone, declassify everything, which will play in nicely into the election discussion. And in fact, Tulsi was promising to have a major bombshell drop on the election machines. And so I think the obstacle is that right now, Senate Majority Leader Thune is basically creating the fiction that the Senate is doing something by having kind of pseudo meetings just so Trump can't get into a recess appointment scenario.
Yep.
But if Trump can come up with an answer to that, not only can he fire the board, he can appoint people through recess appointments, and all of a sudden you could.
He's being attacked, Loa Mom, specifically for this. Iran thing is a cover. Internally, externally, inside our country, outside the SES class, the bureaucratic class, all the people you're firing, the Democrats, the leftists, they're still here. They haven't gone anywhere. Yeah, the swamp is bigger than one man. Exactly. But he's eviscerating them. But they're still hanging around. They're still out there. Do you understand that? They're still a threat. It's not Iran. Okay? Israel's Mossad, they're pushing that narrative. It's not. It's all the people that are being funded by the NGO groups and all these other people that are hanging around. There's real actual intelligence that his life is in danger, and it's not coming from Mossad. As Bannon said, he's right. He doesn't even get his intelligence from there. There are other things in play right now. As he's dismantling the administrative state, they're going to what? Bite back. He's going after the CIA. He's going after many different elements inside our group, and they don't like it. They don't like it, and they're going to come pushing back. Those are the people who are quietly in the shadows that we need to look at, to watch, to keep an eye on. Iran is a distraction. Iran is gone. Who gives a fuck about Iran? Israel is another second thing. Have to consider that maybe the infiltrators from there and AIPAC and other groups are working in unison to what? Poke the bear a little bit more. But I'm not necessarily sure it's that per se, because I'm not going to rest all my laurels on that. I think there's a greater swath of enemies of communists and, let's just say, Bolsheviks and subversives and all these other demons that are out there that are hiding in the shadows. And now knowing full what President Trump, his power has never been stronger, never been bigger, never been more weightier. This power of this president under the Slaughter Act, if you go look at it, he has the power to do things he didn't do before. And that constitutes his what? Exacerbation of his executive orders. They will now have a heavier weight as they push through. Let's continue on.
Could have like a Sean Smith on the EAC.
Wow.
So I haven't war gamed at all. I'm thinking about it, as you can tell, but I'm very excited about the possibility of a very elegant solution that doesn't require the legislature to get involved.
Absolutely. You hear what he said? I like Clement. He makes a good point. I listen to him sometimes. Without having the legislature, that means the House of Representatives, Senators, to get involved, because let's face it, I mean, they can build a fire with all the elements available to them, with the matches, with the gasoline. They couldn't. He's basically saying President Trump will have to do an end around against Congress. He will have to redress, possibly in some way, the Supreme Court with other fashions. He will have to find other ways, and that could be PEDs, as we talked about, executive orders. His power is now amassing, is growing, is expanding. And he now has to utilize that in such a way that is pertinent and prominent to the situations that he's going to act upon. Okay, specifically, not as a general swath of stuff, to play whack-a-mole. He has to specifically go after and target certain things to undercut that, to get what he wants transposed in there, or make sure that we have an opportunity to focus on where the Supreme Court lacked on decisioning and where the United States Congress and Senate has basically left us in a bind. Now, we won't know too much until the 13th when the Senate returns. And we'll find out what's going to happen with McConnell probably thereafter. Very soon we'll find out about that. I believe so. I believe by the 13th, 14th, we'll have some type of understanding. I'll leave you with this. I dropped all the pills. Thank you, Senor Polo. I really like your commentary. Yeah, agreed. Thank you. Thank you, Brett, for giving us a channel. No, thank you. You guys support the platform. I'm not bought and paid for. I don't get a sponsor. I'm not fucking paid by Israel. I'm not paid by some fucking Muslim fucking dirt slop. They probably wouldn't like me anyway. They probably want to chop my head off. All right? I mean, the bottom line is that if I was paid in single malt, I would be happy with that. But I'm not, and I digress. But anyway, or Irish whiskey, as my brother would say. But let me leave you with this. And I think this is funny. And this is a parting shot. This is a parting shot to all the, look, like I said, I am not on anybody's side except for We Are Rise's side, Brett Collins' side. My side is this. I don't listen to this. I don't listen to that. I don't listen. And there are people I actually like who've accepted the Prosobic, Benny Johnson narrative, who are not even 6 months ago were wrecking them for the binders. And I'm like, you guys are sellouts and hypocrites. And you know what? You can't, in some way, have your own opinion. You can't have your own. You can't just say, hey, look, I haven't seen a video. I don't know what's going on. And I don't. And I'm not going to opine on this. Look, if he's guilty, he's guilty. They're going to move forward with this anyway. What difference does it make? I'm not getting paid to toe a line or connect a line. What I'm saying is, let's be real about things as we see it from a case. OJ and other people had more, Casey, and all these people had fucking shit, more evidence against them. And now if you're saying there's a video that he shot, why didn't they show it? Why didn't they show it? They should have showed it. So they showed it. The rest of you fucking idiots inside the courtroom, but they didn't want to show it to the rest of us. Why? They didn't have a problem showing the rest of us some fucking suicide note or a note admitting that he did all this stuff, or the burn note that the tranny troon lover had. And remember that guy, how he looked. This whole thing, whatever. I mean, at this point, it doesn't even matter. They've already sold their soul. The deal is that it's already a done deal. Whether he makes it to trial or not, or he makes it there after trial. I mean, I think he's not going to make it to trial only because the fact is that they think there's going to be an opportunity. One juror, who could be me, or someone like me, says, I don't like what you're shoveling. I don't like what I can't think about it. It only takes one, maybe two. Brett equals vigilante citizen. You have no idea of the vigilante citizen I am. I take no guff from anybody. I don't fucking care who you are. And I'll tell it to your fucking face. Seriously. And you want to come at me? Good luck. Good luck. You're going to love my response, but here we go. For all the people who say, oh, blah, 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 this and that. I think this was pretty good. Carly Bonet puts this up. This actually, again, to push this on the other side. Again, I play both sides. I'm in the middle. I'm not on her side or this side or other people that are towing a different line. Yes, I want justice for Charlie Kirk. But to whitewash it all away without all the evidence being, out there for us to see, it's pretty sad. And anybody that's doing it, shame, 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 shame on you. The more evidence we have, the more we see who plotted and did this, but everybody else like, oh, you could see this, but we're going to tell you we saw a video, but just trust us, bro. I had the Epstein bio. I had the Epstein files. Remember that? Trust me, bro. I had the Epstein files. Trust me. I saw the video. It's all done. Yeah. Good luck with you. Good luck in your life taking someone else's, opinion or belief on the system. If I'm not showing it to you, you need to call me out. Everyone saying, just trust me. I don't tell you to trust. You know what I say in this fucking platform all the time? You know what pisses me off? You know why I'm angry? Because of shit like that. And there are fucking big name platforms who I like, who are basically, oh, they got the Space Force video. And they're just rolling with it. I'm like, did you see the video? No. But you're rolling with it. 6 months ago, you were calling out Benny Johnson, Liz Wheeler, Jack Soberek, got to get sobered up. Oh, I got the binder, man. We got all the evidence against Epstein. How did that work out? Where is the discernment? Where are the people that have critical thinking? I think they lost their shit emotionally about the Charlie Kirk case because they are more angry, not about the trial or the defense. They're just so vitriolic about Candace Owens and Ian Connor or whatever the fuck his name is, or many other people that are big names that are out there who have made money off of this whole narrative. But there are good stuff that has come out of the discussions that people don't answer. I didn't get to it tonight. I didn't want to talk about it. I just want to show you this and dip out.
She can connect any two events in history.
This is good.
With yarn, thumbtacks, and unwarranted confidence. She doesn't need sources. She is the source. She once debated herself and lost twice. Intelligence agencies follow her Twitter just to see what they're doing next. She never met an obvious explanation she couldn't turn into a confusing 2-hour podcast. She possesses priceless secrets, but will share them with anyone for a small subscription fee. In her world, all roads lead to Israel, even cul-de-sacs. She is the most kooky podcaster in the world, but then again, the feds told us to say that. She can connect.
That's a great video. That's a great video. That's a fantastic video because I can even make the assessment today that all the people that aren't her, that don't like her, have now fallen into the same trap that she has now convinced you not to fall into. They have been assuaged, persuaded into falling into her spider's web. And I say, don't do it. Don't give her quarter. There are people on Pilled. Yes, there are. There are people on X that are so angry, so vitriolic, so seething with contempt that they have fallen into that trap and they cannot get out of it regardless. And they will now start to believe anything that's on the opposite side to digest and swallow and say, see, he's guilty. He's this and that, regardless if they've seen any video. And what I'm saying is, be forewarned, be forementioned. Possibly guard yourself against that, because if that falls by the wayside, and Prosobic and all these other people, Benny Johnson, have, let's just say, orchestrated a hit job in some way in this matter to convince you of this narrative that's not true, you're going to have egg on your face, man. You're going to have egg on your face. And I hope you don't have egg in your face. But I wouldn't believe those fucking knuckleheads, if you gave me $1 million a year to be paid on a payroll. I mean, I'd rather have my soul, my integrity, and my own thought process. That's our show for tonight. I want to thank everybody out there. Thank you all over here on Rumble. What's up, True Terran? On Rumble, on YouTube. Good to see everybody out there. Darlell with the ship. Thank you for dropping the ship. 2.4 on the leaderboard. Theo 1.2 and Wood USA with 938. Always the big three dropping and supporting the platform. I thank everybody for being here and supporting the platform. You guys are all kind. I appreciate everything. I hope the information that I deposited out, get through, you understand what is more impactful, what we need to focus on, and let's continue on that narrative. I will return on Sunday this time around. I'm trying to get Thomas to come on. I doubt it. But anyway, I will return on this Sunday because I missed 2 Sundays and I have to get back because there's so much more I didn't get to. But have a good night. God bless. Good evening. Ciao, Bella. Peace.